Alrighty guys, welcome back. Today I would like to start a new series, my Bush League Blitz and Bolt systems. In the first video we are gonna discuss what to play against knight f3 c4, Reti or English opening stuff. So basically in the game, white will fianchetto their light square bishop. They will play g3, bishop g2, either on the first two moves or in the first 10 moves. They will play that. They can play d4, c4, skip one of them. They can play e4, whatever. But the structure is gonna look like this, most likely. And then they will play knight f3, castle. Now, this is not engine approved. I got inspired by none other than Mr. Hikaru-Nakamura. He plays this in bullet all the time, scores pretty well, and unfortunately it is not engine approved. But if you lose, it's not because of stockfish, it's a skill issue. So bear with me. Let's, without further ado, dive in. Well, it can come from various different move orders like knight 3 c4 or d4, but let's say they play c4, we're gonna play the same thing, just like we are premiuming in Hikaru, and we will play bishop g7, d6, knight c6. Let's say they play d4, castle, or it doesn't matter. I will bring you the same position all the time. This is our starting top. Yeah, they can play such a move, but basically this is gonna be our starting tabia. g6, bishop g7, knight c6, bishop d7, queen c8. You can also do like this, for instance. Maybe they will think like, okay, this guy's an amateur, you know, like they will play bishop c6 to neutralize that bishop. But no. So basically queen c8, and the next move is pretty obvious. We're gonna play bishop h3. So how did we get into here with 1 c4? I will show you how you can get from knight f3 too. However, there is a small backup I have to show. Let's say if they play knight f3, they will most likely play g3, but they can also play some d4 structure, and which I will show in the next video, how to play against a d4 structure, some pretty sharp and dubious and very exciting modern. Okay, I'm bringing exactly the same position. Bang, bang, bang. Once again, we reach the same initial position. So I haven't pre-recorded anything for this video. I'm just going with the flow, and I will show you how the position might look like. There is no name of this variation. I call it Bush League Hikaru bullet system. But you know, it is a very primitive way of playing. We play bishop h3, h5, h4, and checkmate. And you can beat so many players like in 15 moves. From here, we are on move 7 right now. And in the end, I will show you some of my wins and also some of my losses, how you can lose the game, so that you can have a basic idea of how the game might go. So without further ado, let's dive into a little bit of theory. Okay, so in the study I made it from a d4 move order, but doesn't matter. Knight f3, d6, and now they can play bishop g2, knight c3, doesn't matter. Sooner or later they will play, or maybe knight d2, but doesn't make sense to block that bishop. But okay, I gave here the bishop g2, bishop d7, and they can castle or play knight c3, castles, queen c8, knight c3. Some might feel like, okay, so obviously he's gonna play bishop h3, so I will play rook e1, which is, first I give you that. Here, this is not not winning for black or losing for white, but not a great sequence. After bishop h5, we will stick with the same plan. And if they play d5, we of course jump here, and then such a move we push, and it looks pretty rough for black, I would say. Like in this position you can play queen g4, you can play bishop g4, you can play queen g4, queen h5, knight f6, like you have all the fun in the world, you know, if in case someone goes for such a rook e1 stuff, which I will show you also some games. I had some games, but let's start with knight c3. So we play bishop h3. Now white has, as you can see from the arrows, like 3-4 different options they can play. Okay, I didn't add bishop g5, but you know, these are the 3 most common moves that you can face: e4, d5, or rook e1. d5 is very tempting. It is probably the most popular move. We jump, and most of my opponents, for instance, here they take, or however, bishop f4 is a great move. They can also give a check, but I will give you the most obvious one. I'll start with the most obvious one: knight takes e5, bishop takes e5. And then f4 I have faced it a lot. Even very like tight players play this against me, weak tight players, but still they have chess license. This is a blunder. Now black takes over. We simply take, play h5, and I don't know, like queen d4 can be an option, which can be answered with knight f6 or e4, and this is really going already wrong for white. Like let's say queen f3. I mean, you can take however you want, and look at this queen now. This queen can't be untouched. I mean, white can offer a queen trade, but that's the only thing that how they can kick our queen away. And you know, it is easy to target this pawn with such a moves like queen f3, and you should be also right from here. If you play like h5, h4, bishop h3, doesn't mean that we're gonna checkmate. You can also feel that, okay, now this position is great. I can also feel it play an endgame with such a beautiful knight. Like we can play f5 and then play against it. Look at this structure, wonderful. Just some sample line. Now I showed how white can play like a patzer, by the way, but it is pretty common even at Hikaru's level. In bullet, his opponents are 3000 rated, and he reached these type of positions quite a lot. So this f4 is a blunder because we simply take and then execute our plan. Queen a4 check is interesting to disturb our coordination a little bit. I would probably play king a. Don't be afraid to play such a move, by the way, in these structures, because after this you will still take and then play h5 here, and then your king will be pretty safe. Do not blunder about such a move, for instance. So, like here, Stockfish says the best move here is bishop f4, which is not an easy move, I would say, because, but still we stick with the same plan. This is some line that white can get, and they don't get checkmated pretty easily, but still, because now, as in the previous version I showed with double pawns for white on the c-file, now we have some ugly pawn structure, and you know, we're not delivering a checkmate. But who plays bishop f4 here? Let's be real. I mean, so that was, for instance, d5 move. Let's say rook e1, yeah, because maybe they will still pull the bishop back to h1. We still go for h5, h4, and you know, there is this famous also blunder that leads to a checkmate, so they can't take it. d5 or e4, but e4 is not a good move, I would say, because now Now there's some serious tension on this pawn, for instance, and it's not easy to deal with all these hanging pawn. Like this pawn is quite vulnerable. Sooner or later they have to push like d5, and such a move will happen. Yeah. By the way, one might say why not h takes g3, but why f takes g3? H takes g3 looks better, but now there are some crazy tactics starting with rook takes h1. You should also watch out for this tactic, which I miss pretty often when I start playing the system. When this option appears, always keep that in your radar. Rook takes h1 when they play such stupid rook e1 and then bishop h1 stuff. Rook takes h1, king takes h1, bang. And black is completely winning. Keep that in your mind, this motif. So this rook e1 is also pretty dumb. e4 here is also we just looked at this. There was instead of d5 or rook e1, there is e4 here, which is not a bad move. Let's stick with the same plan. d5, knight e5, take, f4 once again, transposes to the variation that I showed. Like they can play queen f3 or queen d4, which doesn't make sense. So this f4 move was really a typical blunder, which you can face it a lot. f4 move transposes, but there is this q2 move, not ruining our pawn structure, but we can sacrifice. Now we are very much into this position with this pawn. Actually, e4 pawn is also hanging. So keep that in your mind. f4 is the blunder, and you can it pretty often. What else I didn't show off? Bishop g5 is an interesting move, actually. So that, you know, after this, now the sacrifice is not an option, but here keep that in your mind. So we can still push h4, and now I'll show you a different motif. If however they take f6, now g5 is a serious threat in actual fact, and I don't know how white can save the piece. I reached some sort of a similar position like this, and I think one of my opponents, for instance, played the queen c2 because in case some like I won a bishop like this, but they gave a check, and the position got a bit messy. Stockfish gives like -2 still, but because you would be up a piece. However, yeah, keep that in your mind. And I have to say, like right after e4, engine gives like +1.5 or something like that. But who cares? I mean, black wins above 60%. Doesn't matter what Stockfish says, and I'm not gonna show the true reputation of this dumbass system. But you know, like. I checked on Leech's database. There were like 2 games which appeared in that line, and one of the players was Nihal Sarin against some guy named Baba Ramdev, and still black won, but it was a bullet game. Yeah, 2 games, so there is no need to get into that. So basically, I think I showed all the basic ideas. You know, you push, and at this when they play bishop g5, you can still push h4. You can still play h4 with this f6 g5 idea, trapping the bishop. What else? This is also an important motif. If they capture the knight, this pawn is hanging, by the way. Or in case they play such a move, for instance. In case they play such a move, now you take. You know, this pawn is vulnerable. Keep that in your mind. Bishop e3 is also an option. We still stick with our plan. This move, for instance, was Nakamura's choice in his Blitz and Bolt games, and you know, now it looks pretty bad because now this pawn is untouchable. However you take, yeah, I take this pawn is hanging. If you take, you can't take because it's mate. You know, it's dangerous, quite dangerous. So what I did not mention is, let's rotate a bit back. Let's say I've seen it pretty often that after this move, let's say they start with knight c3 and then you play queen c8. Obviously white is, if they are not a moron, they will feel okay, if I cut, you just can't play bishop h3 and attack like a primitive caveman. So I have seen one of these two moves few times, and let me show you how to play against it. So after h5 there is no attack, but you know, they have weakened some squares, and I like h5 in this position. Then after castle we can still play bishop h3, but this is more like a King's Indian type of game, and you know, white didn't play any aggressive system against your King's Indian. They but you play from here, right from here you play a game of chess. You know, you can also play like knight h6, knight f5, trying to pressurize that pawn. You know, different motifs. If they play h3, however, now we can change the gears. We can play a King's Indian stuff move, which is directly e5, attacking this pawn, more like white is forced to push. And next move, we are closing our eyes and pushing f5, like here. They can do such a thing, but I don't think, you know, I just gave you some sample stuff. So h5, you can play and don't play e5 here, by the way. I did that mistake, but this is not a fun position because white has this option, and it is a bit annoying because, you know, all white's pieces, like this rook is better than this rook, this bishop is better than this bishop, this knight is better than this knight. So keep that in your mind. After h4 we play h5. After h3 we play e5. What else I did not mention? Okay, knight c3, like rook e1. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, I'm pretty bad for white. They can resign. Queen c8, knight c3, bishop h3. Now d5, rook e1, e4, yeah, these are the three moves. However, if you are looking for the true refutation of this line, of this Nakamura's pet line and bullet, it all involves capturing here and playing some knight g5 action, but I'm not gonna show it. If someone beats you like that, you can come to the comment section and curse me, feel free. So I think that's about it. Let's look at some games that I played in Blitz on internet, and just so that I give you the feeling of how the games might look. Well, let's start with an easy one. My opponent was 2200. So it's how this, for instance, this comes from some d4, and which is, by the way, I have to mention, is knight f3 c4 is also one of my favorite stuff with white pieces. And however, like below, I think like 1800 you don't face that much, I would say, but still, you know, if someone plays it, you don't need to memorize anything. Like all the moves were pretty easy. We played g6, bishop g7, d6, knight c6, bishop c8, queen c8, bishop h3, h5, h4. Just coming straight out of our cave. Right? So if my opponent here first played e3, h5, typical f4, take, and then this is like a dream position. And then I played queen g4 here. I don't know if it's probably it's a good move. Maybe that was a better move. But here we reached this, for instance, this type of endgame. And my opponent blundered the bishop, and they resent. You can also, for instance, here it doesn't allow this. If I was a good move, I have to give them the credit. But let's make such a move. It blunders the pawn though. Like here, if you can get some sort of let's say they take. Now this is more like a good knight versus bad bishop, for instance. Just some sample stuff. Okie dokie. So this game, my opponent was an FM. He's 2428. It was a 3+0 game on chess.com. Came from a d4. Don't worry, I will show you how to lose as well. So, like here, he did skip the c4 move, but sooner or later he played it, and we reached the typical initial position. He played d5, you know, as we have seen. These are the three moves that you can face. Knight e5, take, f4. 2400 FM, such a blunder. Now, can you see the engine evaluation? Here it is plus 0.5, now it is minus 0.3, and it gets worse and worse, like 24, okay. Nice, one move threat, e4, -1. But after this, like, I don't know how you stop my attack, I don't know. Looks painful. Rook h1, I can take. By e5, I sacked my knight because he took mate in 5. And it was over basically. He resigned. So I won in 16 moves against 2400 without using my brain. All the standard moves, standard attack, and they don't know. He didn't know how to react. Alright, so I'm gonna show you a painful game, how white should play and how you can lose. So this guy was 2386. Let's start with the 93 move order. Reti, the good old Reti. And once again, basically the same position all the time. Bishop h3, rook b1. So, and if you're familiar with some c4 structures, this rook b1, b4, b5 is sometimes a good plan, you know, especially against, I would say, I also play c4 a lot, and against symmetrical English I like it. I play h5. What did my opponent do, guys? What did I tell you in the last part of the theory section? All the refutations start with bishop takes h3. Looks very counterintuitive, by the way. Because, you know, like, that bishop is a great defender of white's king. Why would I give up for that, activating that queen? But the queen is kind of kicked away from there. Knight g5. Queen f5. e4. Probably queen g4 was a better move. Provoking like h3 or f3. But after this, now my opponent offers the queen trade. My position sucks, but you know, you should not. Okay, I move my. I don't like. You know, I wanna. You should not think like, okay, I wanna attack, so I move my queen back and then somehow push, and then no, we are very back in development. So I consider developing. But after king g2, now you can feel there is no attack. I push h4, he will play g4. Like, the attack is gone, guys, sadly. But it is sometimes you have to face these positions too. But quite rare, I have to say. Especially in bullet, I don't think so. In blitz, maybe. g4. Now, like, there is no entry. There is no entry. Bishop g7 question mark. Computers say, stockfish says I should push e5 and then play some sort of a wacky king's Indian. So I played such a move. I played knight a7 because his knight was pretty annoying. I think it was decent, by the way. Here it is +2. Knight d5, like b3. White sits on the position, makes have some picnic, and I have nothing to play for. However, b4, okay. Now the advantage evaporated a little bit from +2 to 0.7, and this is the turning point that I should have traded and then play that position. I should have gone such a thing. Play this position. Instead, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I will sack on g4, but like I made some one move threats. c5, and yeah, and then I blundered. Knight c6, the game goes on, but I completely underestimated. Oh, sorry, it was not here. It was here. I blundered mate into knight c6. Show goes on, but basically, okay, the final part of the game was irrelevant, I would say. Just to give you this feeling when the all bad nightmare starts after your pieces are getting kicked away, and then there is no attack, because whatever you push, white can block it with the other pawn, etc. Alright, so let's jump to another game. This came from knight f3, classic position. Here my opponent, for instance, didn't castle. He played e5 early, and then f4, which is not a good move once again. And then I directly played the bishop h3, castled, and we reached the typical position. Take, b6, e5 was a good move. By the way, this f5 move can sometimes be very annoying. You have to keep that in your mind, because maybe now we can take, but still, like, such moves are a bit annoying, disturbing this coordination of queen and bishop. So basically, I'll give you a summary. If you lose, you are gonna either lose with the previous game that I showed with bishop takes h3, something captures and some knight g5 stuff, or with e5 did this pawn advance with f5, most likely f5 or e5. So this is how you can lose the game, by the way. Like e6 looks good. I haven't analyzed this game. I don't see what Stockfish says, but I think black is fine. My knight is secure now. I mean, this queen, okay, it can come here, but I move my rook. There is no threat. Man, my knight is gorgeous there compared to the stupid bishop. Now I had queen a6 was a good move, and now I attacked the rook. They blundered the rook. And easy peasy. All right, next one, maybe last one. So here my opponent is 2397 rated. Let's see, comes from c4. We play all the same stuff. Rook b1. He didn't play d4. We have seen this idea, rook b1. Knight e5, take, f4. Here it goes from 0.2 equal to -3. Because my attack, like this is nonsense. Normally you push to kick away this knight and generate some play with some queen a4. There is nothing. It's full hallucination. One move threat, fair enough. Now look at this knight coming here. You can long castle even, maybe. It's over. H1. I couldn't find it. There was a That was a better finish with check, and then I was winning the rook with or rook h2 it gives, but I think I can also give this check too, and then pick up this rook. But okay, doesn't matter. So I made some tickle here. I blundered actually. I couldn't finish it, and then he blundered the queen. Once again, how to win, the idea how to win in 10 moves. All this rook f2, queen, queen f3, queen d4 is painful after playing f4, which is a huge blunder. Okay. Last one. This was against some FM, probably an old guy, 2200. Okay, the bank, directly d5. Like here, one might ask, what happens after f4? We go back. What to do? We can't play bishop takes c3 because there is no bishop there. However, like this is, I'm a bit skeptical. Like here, for instance, knight c3, we probably once again take and then play such stuff. But now it looks a bit, I don't know, like f5. It looks a bit bishop is coming g5. This is what I was talking about. F5 moves this can be sometimes painful, and you can't take like this. They take, or if you take and then. Yeah, I don't really want to take, and then bishop g5 will be very annoying. So yeah. But the game didn't go like this. My opponent plays such a nonsense move, queen b3. No, it's not nonsense maybe, but if I play maybe they will take and then capture this pawn, but I think I move my rooks to push h5, h4 and have a promising attack. So they play queen b3, I play b6, I'm in no hurry. He captured this time. But there is no knight coming to g5 to annoy my queen, it is quite slow. So they give this check, I guess, which is a pointless check. I move my king. And then knight f3, however. Bishop f6 this time, not allowing this. Rook b1. My attack is coming, and here h4. Took g5, winning a piece. Queen c6 on one more threat. I defend the pawn. Nothing happens. Take b4. Knight comes here. Okay, some one move threat. I played this move, but stop saying this is even more brutal because like my king is so safe and white's king is busted. So that was all about my Bush League Hikaru Nakamura system with we close our eyes. G6 bishop g7, d6 knight c6 bishop d7, queen c8, and then open our eyes. So you can get pretty easy wins in online chess. Just send me the miniature wins in 15 moves in the comment section. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. I will show you in the upcoming video what to play. Let's say they play knight f3 and then white doesn't fianchetto their light square bishop and play some d4 structure. Now what am I gonna do about this? I will show you in the next video. Till then, stay safe. I'll see you later.